Welcome to the next frontier where imagination, innovation, technology, and new ideas come together to radically revolutionize your quality of life and to change the world around us for the better. We have an amazing panel of guests who are very close to my heart. I've been a martial artist all my life, and today we have, I guess I'll just go right down the line. We have Cynthia Rothrock, and of course, Cynthia, I've done a show before with Cynthia. We did one just recently.
Yes, we did.
And I said, you got to come back. But I said, if you just dye your hair purple, we'll have you back on the show. That
and
way
I wanted to be on so bad I did. I went out.
You did whatever it takes. She's no, that's not true. Cynthia, as I've mentioned before, she's starred in over 50 martial arts movies. She's starred. You starred in most of them, right?
Yeah, starred or co-starred.
Or co-starred, we can say that. The first one being with Michelle Yeoh in Yes, Madam, back in the day. And she, of course, is from Crouching, I'm going to say it wrong
Tiger,
again.
Hidden Dragon.
The tiger crouches, the dragon hides. Okay. I get it wrong. I mix it up every time. Five times world karate champion and forms and weapons master. And maybe today we'll get her to kick me in the head. I would love that because she kicks everybody in the head and she's got all these shots. I would love, actually, if you guys could both kick me in the head, it would be really great. But not really. Don't really hit me. And we've got Mr. James Wilson. James, and so we've got the both of you, the Wilson brothers, coming in together. And James and Don the Dragon Wilson. Now, James, you guys are brothers, and you were Don's first instructor?
I was his first Sifu, yes.
His first Sifu, and your brother, your father, Jim Wilson, was also a martial arts instructor. Oh, he wasn't. Okay. This is where I got mixed up because I'm looking when I was doing all my research. I'm like, wait a second, how can he be coming? Because it doesn't look like he. Okay, so you were his first Sifu in what art was that?
Pai Lam Kung Fu.
Pai Lam Kung Fu, okay.
Which Cynthia also.
Which is funny because that was my first Kung Fu style, was Pai Lam Kung Fu, and it's a very obscure system that not that many people know much about.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
It was crazy, we both said, yeah, we both did Pai Lam because he probably knows unless, you're in that city where they teach Pai Lam, which is like maybe a couple of them.
There were only a few cities.
Yeah, there's only a few cities that nobody ever heard that style before. And it was such
actually-
a coincidence.
We have
It was
many
funny.
different coincidences
Yes.
with me and Cynthia.
Okay.
All coincidences, though.
Okay.
The dragon,
She knows the Lady
dragons.
Dragon.
Yeah.
We'll find
My
out about
nickname
that.
was the Dragon.
She's the Lady Dragon.
And we did White Dragon Kung
You're
Fu.
the Dragon, and Ron Van Cleef is the Black Dragon. And he was the partner of my old instructor, Owen Watson, and they created Chinese Goju together, so there's a dragon connection somewhere in there. And James, now, and you play a really important role in our discussion here today, because when Cynthia came on before, when she came on the show, we talked about, and on the next frontier, we like to talk about how technology and innovation and imagination is changing the way we live, giving us more opportunities, making things easier than ever before. And I know the film industry's changed quite a bit, but the movie that you guys have you've completed it now?
It's just completed.
Okay, so are you still a little post-production, or is it?
We may make a few tweaks.
Yeah.
but it's done.
That's fantastic. And this is not your first film, is it?
It is.
It is. So this
absolutely is.
But it was your brainchild.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this here we've got the brains and the bronze on either. No, and you're the bronze too. What am I talking
No,
about?
I'd be the brawn. That was the beauty.
The brawn, the
brains, the beauty.
The brains,
and then the thug.
And the thug, yes, we got a thug on the end, and that's Don, the Dragon Wilson, brother of James, and also first student of James. This is going to be an interesting conversation. I'm really looking forward to seeing where we go with this. And Don is very shy, so we may have to work at pulling a little bit of Don out here. But so Don is at the time undisputed world kickboxing champion.
No, to give you my in a nutshell,
Yeah.
I fought for 28 years.
Yeah.
I won 11 world titles in different weight divisions and different associations. And I retired as one of the top kickboxers of all time.
Of all time, yeah. And we were having a conversation just before we did this because I remember when I was training, I trained in Lake Tahoe, and you know who trained with us, you may know them, was Juan and Hector Torres. I don't know if you remember them.
Yeah, the names are familiar.
Yeah, Juan Torres was like light ISKA champion or something, lightweight champion for a while. And so they would train at our dojo. And then we had Dennis Alexio came in, and he was, I just remember, actually, we got to tell the story correctly. I wasn't the one holding the pads. It was a friend of mine that was holding the pads. But when I saw that spinning back kick that he had and he sent him across the room, I thought, man, this guy is tough. And I'm reading over your bio, and I knew who you were because you've done, how many films did you say?
I've acted in, I guess, over 40 films.
In over
But
40
I
films.
starred in 30.
Starred in 30, acted in 40. You only starred in 30 films. Cynthia, you said we had a real player here.
Well, I also want, these are Hollywood films too now, because, Jackie Chan has starred in more films total, but as far as Hollywood films, I'm the Asian American that has started probably most of the most films.
Yeah, you broke the, because we're not talking about all B-level type films. You broke into a category that...
Well, I was in Batman Forever, so I've gotten a little taste of the studio releases, but really I have not yet starred in a studio film.
Okay. But I need to know, when you were in Batman, do you think you could have taken Batman really? Because it was a film. They were mocking things down. Could you have taken him?
Well, it was Val Kilmer.
Okay. Oh,
Nothing against Val
you
Kilmer,
did take him. You
but,
gave him the death touch.
but
That's
actually,
why he looks the way he does now.
My
the
fight
dim
scene was with
mouth.
Chris O'Donnell.
Oh no, sorry, and I apologize, Val Kilmer. I don't mean that. Yeah. No, what was that? Your favorite was
The fight scene was with Chris O'Donnell.
Oh, with Chris
I
O'Donnell.
didn't actually have to
It's
go up
really
against
Robin
Batman,
that beats him up.
yeah. So
Yeah, I
okay,
get beat
so
up by Robin,
you got
but,
beat up by a Robin.
Yeah,
How
unfortunately.
did how did that
that was-
affect your ego?
My whole
and your-
career, my life, my
Yeah.
Well, I was happy to just be involved in it. It was the highest grossing
course.
film that year. And Joel Schumacher personally asked me to come into his office and talk to him about appearing in his film. And he had watched a couple of my films and just thought he would add a little martial arts to
That's
the Batman
fantastic.
franchise. And I was happy to take part in it. I had fun. I had a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
oh no, I bet that's to be in a film like that is very, very cool. Now, and we're here to talk about your film that you guys have all now put together, which is the Martial Arts Kid, and
Can I give you the
please
genesis
do,
of it?
please do.
Because the concept actually began with me,
Yeah, that's okay.
and then I mentioned it to Don, and Don said that's a difficult thing to do. That particular
So
style
Don
of
put the
movie.
limitations on it, and you said BS.
Pretty much, and then I went and spoke to someone who's a friend of both Don and I, who's a director and a writer.
Okay.
And I talked to him about writing it. He liked it, so he
Okay.
wrote it. And then once the story kind of came together, then I talked to Cynthia, and Cynthia loved the idea immediately. And then when we went back to Don, and Don knew it was going to happen anyway,
Right.
that I was going to try to proceed, then he came on board completely. So what we had in a nutshell.
So then you had let me break this down just a little more, because I think this is such an important part of the process of creation, and you guys have this thing that you're bringing out that to me I look at as being revolutionary, and the reason why I say that is because Kickstarter played a major role in the funding of the film, and
It did.
And the world today is changing, where people can make their dreams happen faster than ever before in ways that are new. You see people becoming stars on YouTube. You see people creating their own YouTube channels and making $300,000 a year off of advertising that people are, that you just click on and say, yes, monetize my stuff, and they'll throw ads on your clips. And it's just amazing to me how, people are writing their own playbook. But here we have two, I don't think there's anybody that's done, and you and I had this conversation before, and I accidentally said that I thought Steven Seagal might have done more martial arts movies, and I got corrected very, very quickly.
Nowhere near.
Yeah, Cynthia just about just about laid me out when I said that. She said, "Who, that punk?" And no, that's a joke, Stephen. That's a joke. Yeah, don't challenge people on their radio. No, but so we've got two people that have started movies for a long time, and here you come along with this idea. And where did the idea come from for you?
Well, you know, it really came from loving movies and being a martial artist and taking the one that we kind of everybody loves, which is Karate Kid.
Yeah, yeah.
And seeing as a
that.
martial artist and seeing the faults in it. Okay.
But the
So
you saw the faults. What were the faults in the Karate
well,
Kid?
you know,
that you saw?
for a martial artist, because
Yeah.
we loved the movie.
Yeah,
as
I
martial
remember. I
artists.
was probably 14 years old going. We all went together.
But if everybody kind of remembers Mr. Miyagi is a guy who drinks.
Wash on, wash off.
He drinks.
Oh yeah, he's getting
He's
drunk.
also a guy who is a hermit, a loner, dysfunctional with big problems of his own. He needs the kid probably more than the kid.
Sounds like I need a kid like that.
And that's that's not realistic. It's not a guy you would send your kids or want your kid to take lessons from.
Right. No, I hear what you're saying. So he's got all these personal
Right.
defects that are
Right.
getting
So
in
in
the way.
our movie,
Yeah.
there's an actual dojo.
Yeah.
You know,
Real
it's
school.
run by Don and Cynthia.
Yeah.
Who are husband and wife. They're a fully functional family with a daughter. You know, they're a good role model, good example, more like real life.
Yeah.
You know.
Got it.
And the martial arts they teach, of course, is not. We actually poke a little fun. It's not wax on, wax off, or
it's not
hang
like
the
that.
coat, take the coat off. You don't win. You know.
Rocky chased chickens to get ready for Apollo Creed.
That's true.
And you know what? I fought for 28 years. I never chased one chicken.
Really?
Yeah, in my training.
How quickly can we get a chicken
Believe it.
here? You know, I mean, like, if only we knew these things in advance, we'd have one ready for you. And
So with these two, you know, once they're on board, everything became, you know, all aspects of the martial arts became real because they're both the teachers.
now, see here, this is the
Everywhere.
magic. So
And let me tell you one other thing.
yeah, please.
Is the other producer is Cheryl
Cheryl
Marie
Wheeler.
Wheeler. Who's a famous kickboxing champion,
Right.
one of the most famous women kickboxing champions.
Right.
So the whole team, you know, is lifelong martial artists.
right.
So everything, you know, the pressure was on to make the movie.
You felt the pressure?
Yeah, I felt
Yeah.
pressure myself because, you know, because the people I'm working with
Right.
are the best of the best.
Yeah.
And they, you know, and they know what they're
They know what they're doing.
they know their stuff. So our movie had to be a lot more realistic, but entertaining at the same time.
What kind of an active role did you play as things were progressing beyond concept?
Well, you know, Cheryl is a friend of all of ours, so I discussed it with her. She's the first investor, right? So we came up with the money, and then we looked and we thought, you know, we want it set somewhere else. Karate Kid's in L.A. Everybody shoots in L.A.
Right.
We need a nice set, so it's Don's hometown, Cocoa Beach, Florida.
All right.
Right, is the area we decided on, but we didn't have the money
Yes.
to shoot two locations, so
You
we
know what?
raised it on Kickstarter.
I'm going to pause just for a second because I really, I think this is so critical. Like this, from the idea, because the idea popped into your head before you had the money. And what I really love for people to understand is that it's easy. It's not that it's easy. You guys worked your tails off, and but people most people that I know will put up barriers before they'll even go out there and start dreaming anything, except for the people that are really making things happen. So they'll say, you know, I'm not going to do this because I don't have the money, or I'm not going to do this because I don't have the idea. I'm not going to do this because I don't have the people. I don't have the contacts. I don't have this. I don't have that. But here you are. You know some people that do some things. We all know some people that do some things. Yours happen to be world champions, and you know. But you had this idea or this concept of doing the kind of a. And I won't even say remake because that's not what it is.
Believe me,
its own thing. Yeah,
very much different.
very much different, but based on the faults that you saw within the other, saying, "Hey, we could do something that's wholesome, that could appeal in a better way."
And we have a strong anti-bully message.
and which is such a critical message at this time with kids getting bullied. And so we have this idea, and I want to talk about just for a second how the players came in, if you don't mind. I'm sorry that we're going center here, but it'll all come to fruition in a second. But we got to take a break right now. We'll be right back. Okay, so we were talking. I think what's such a critical part is going from idea or concept or something. It's like, boy, I want to create this, which was the space that you were in. And I'd like to just slow it down a little bit in terms of how everybody came into play, because I know it's important. The Kickstarter was really important. But at that point, when you had that idea, you went to Don, and Don, you said something funny on the break. You were saying, we were talking about tightrope walkers and the standing at the base of the pyramids and naked in a dream where they're throwing little pickles at you. Do you remember that?
You know what? I fought for
Oh, no.
28 years, so I have a hard time remembering anything. That conversation, it must have slipped past me. The pyramid, it must have slipped past me.
He did not
And the
have that
pickles
dream.
and the naked.
That was my addition. No, but you were saying something about how important it is.
Well, you got to believe you can do something before it's actually going to happen. You got to. I mean, it starts with that. I mean, you got to have the belief. Then, of course, you have to do all the work it takes. I mean, like I said before, Confucius. This is Confucius saying, not my saying. The man who believes he can and the man who believes he can't. They're both probably right.
Yeah, but tell the tightrope walking story.
Well, the tightrope walking story is to walk across a tightrope. All you got to do is put one foot in front of the other. They have a big pole. The balance of it's not very impressive. If you're a foot off the ground, it's nothing you would want to watch, right?
Right.
But when they put it 1,000 feet up in the air, all of a sudden we're all just shocked that they can even do it. And basically they say it's because they don't concentrate on the negative. They just put one foot in front of the other. And accomplishing any task is similar to that. You know, people ask me what was my game plan when I became a kickboxer.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to win all my fights. That was my plan. Now, that didn't happen. I didn't win them all, but I won enough to win 11 world titles. So it wasn't like I had some very complex scheme that I knew something everybody didn't. I just said, no, I'm going to win all my fights. So a simple plan is easier to follow, I think.
That's my buddy Bob Proctor. He says, if you're going to climb an ice wall, you don't go, sit down and try to figure it out. He says you take your pick, you stick
Start
it wherever
climbing.
you can. Then you put your hand wherever you can, then you put your foot. And so when we go back to the inception of this idea, you have this concept and you bring it to Don, who was the first person you approached with it.
Right.
And your reaction was lukewarm or nothing.
Negative.
So
Well, it's a first of all, it's family film.
Yeah.
I do only R-rated films. I've appeared in some family films, and Cynthia and I did one called Sci-Fighter at one time many years ago, 10 years ago. That was PG film, but generally I do R-rated films. So he approached me with the genre that I'm not a star in.
Right, got it.
Family films. You don't
Yes.
think of me as family films. So that's why I was not negative on the idea. I mean, it's a wonderful story, and the Karate Kid was successful. Just the idea that that would be his first one out of the blocks.
Yeah, and
Family
I
film.
understand that. And see, but anybody starting in the same place, that's the kind of thing that they're going to get. And yet that didn't dissuade you. Why not? What did you feel?
Well, I just really believed in the concept a lot.
Yeah.
And then once they came on board 100%. Cynthia did it immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when he
was
came-
Cynthia,
yeah.
so you say Cynthia was the second person approached?
Yeah,
Okay.
when he came to me, he said, I want to do a family film, and I was like, great, because I'll tell you, from all the people I know in the entertainment business, you hear, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, we're going to do this picture. And I know that if this guy says he's going to do something, he is going to do it. He is the only person I think I know that I know whatever he says, it's going to get done. And the thing about James that I love is that he is so out of the box, right?
Right.
Like I think, Don, you were saying, no, you got to do an action picture. You got to follow
Oh yeah,
the
I
formula.
totally just did.
You have to-
I do the cookie cutter kind of idea.
Why?
This is
Because
what
it works.
And
Yeah.
I'm
No, I get
like
that. I
James.
get
I'm
that.
like, no, go. Let's do something different, because then it's like everything else,
Right.
And the whole process away of people will say to James, oh yeah, don't do that. That's not going to work, or this isn't going to, and he just like stuck to his guns, and said, and eventually it worked. And it's like believing that your idea is right, and that's what I think you have to do. Because if you go and say, well, maybe I'm going to go back and do this because it works, then
Right.
it doesn't different it from
kind of
anything else.
robs the artistry
and you're taking
of
a
it.
chance. But I think that's what life is about, taking chances, and that's how you're going to excel.
So James, I really do want to know, how did you feel when he shot it down at first?
Well,
Honestly.
I felt like, he'll come along.
He'll come along. Okay, see, there you go. It's like, okay.
And I know Don, he's going to back me up in anything I do. Anyway.
Yeah, okay.
So he'll stick his neck out for me. Otherwise.
Right, yeah.
So the next thing I did was, is the guy I worked with is
Right.
a writer that Don knows is a good writer.
Yeah, okay.
This
So
Michael
you said, well,
Baumgartner.
you're going to start to build a team to give more credence to what it was that you were doing.
So anyway, so Michael Baumgarten, his initial reaction was, and he did this, which made Don very
Now,
nervous.
I've heard of that. I've heard his name someplace before. What types of things?
He's done quite a few other movies, but he's
martial arts types films.
He's, low budget. No,
Low budget.
He's never done an action film ever. Yeah. That's the other thing that made Don nervous because he's the director.
Wow. Okay.
But
his last film he had two
writer.
Academy Award-winning actors in it.
3.
The last film that the other one was nominated, but he didn't win the Academy Award. But he had one nominated for Academy Award, 2 Academy Award winners, and they were the stars of his movie just before ours. So I had confidence that
his writing.
He knew what he was doing.
And see, this is the magical part for me of the creation process. You get this idea, it gets shot down at first. That shooting down is actually a good thing because it tells you what holes you got to fill in order to bring up the level of confidence. And then you go out, you bring in somebody that's got this experience that is going to make it more credible as a project. What happened next, right after that?
So then, of course, Cheryl's on board.
So now did you approach Cheryl before, or no? You approached Sin next,
right?
See, okay, and
after those two and Michael, then I talked to Cheryl, and Cheryl said, "Anything you want to do."
And Don's watching. He's like, "Okay, this is going to happen."
And she also loved the idea that it was martial arts and family because that's her thing.
That's beautiful. Now, just a question, just curious. Do you still teach martial arts, or?
I haven't, no, for a long time.
For a little while. Okay, and
but these two teach all over the world.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of seminars.
He's going to Turkey next week to teach a seminar.
You said he's in
Istanbul.
Turkey?
He's going to Turkey.
Oh, he's going to Turkey.
Istanbul. Don's a Turkey? Well, you know what? I'm a Turkey, and I'm going to Istanbul.
Have you been there before?
Yeah, several times. I love it. So it's a very fun city for me.
Do you eat the Turkish delight?
The Turkish delight with the food?
Yeah.
I eat all the food there.
Oh my God. Well, I made the biggest mistake because I went on a 30-day juice fast.
The coffee's strong, I know that.
I broke it with, the coffee is beautiful. Yeah, I broke my 30-day juice fast with a pound of Turkish delight.
I don't know. Not the way to do it. Is that candy?
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, it's heavenly.
Yeah.
If you see it at the bazaars, just don't eat a pound. Only eat a couple pieces. Yeah. So, so they're doing seminars all over the place. This is.
That's another thing I'd like to mention real quick.
Yeah.
Is that Cynthia wasn't just weapons and forms champion for 5 years.
Yes.
She was the only undefeated. Weapons and form champion for 5 years. It's never been replicated since.
Well, here's the thing that's a misconception because some people will go, well, I've been 7 times champion. And it was like my goal, like Don said, I didn't want to lose. So for 5 years, I wanted to be number 1. And this didn't entail just competing 5 different times.
Right.
I competed maybe 30 times a year. So you're looking at 30 times 5. I've never lost from that time. And then at 5 years, that was my goal to retire undefeated because I thought nobody could ever beat that record. Right?
Exactly.
And it just drove me to train harder, like to go to Hong Kong, to go to China, to go to Taiwan, just to train because I knew everybody was gunning for me and it would have been easy for me to lose. So it was really like a big stress. But I said, like Don said, you train like I did for those 5 years. I didn't do anything but martial arts. That was it, martial arts.
And at some point, somebody's going to come up along the way. So there's always a time to step down and become the master. That's like Hickson Gracie. If you guys know Hickson, when I was married for a year, so obviously I was really good at it. But I got married in Brazil, and Hickson was my best man at my wedding. And, he fought, and, the claim is that there's 400 undefeated fights he had fought. And I said, well, are you going to go back? Because the UFC was trying to get him to come in and stuff. And he said, if I'm going in there, it's for like 5 million or something. He put out a number that was ridiculous. He said, what if they just want to watch me lose, then it's going to cost them. I'm not going to go in there to get, I have a perfect record. I'm going to stay with my perfect record because at some point, the champion has to step into the role of the master, and there's a life transition. I think that probably everybody's gone through. And I just turned 44, and I never even became the champion. So sad. Anyway, so you were undefeated. And I think that's a huge thing. In fact, I think I probably saw you. Did you ever compete at the Caesars Tahoe tournaments?
Probably. I competed everywhere. I was like, every weekend I was doing it.
Yeah, because I probably watched you when I was there. I probably was in some of those same tournaments, not fighting anybody as tough as you, but kids my age that, you know.
And the thing about Don's record,
Yeah.
that some people don't know is he's in the Guinness Book of World Records because those 11 titles are with actual legitimate worldwide organizations.
These weren't.
Not like little local.
Well, there are also many different rules because, you know, in the martial arts, you can fight the Muay Thai, which I fought in Bangkok, I fought in Thailand. You can fight what they call full contact, only above the waist, or like with Alexio, World Kickboxing Association, with leg kicks. And it was different weight divisions, different associations.
Boy, that's tough. That sounds tough too, because you got to change your game for everyone, and that's.
I was Fighter of the Year one year because I fought one of each. The year I fought Alexio, I fought the WKA fight, and then a PKA style fight, and then Muay Thai. And those are the three
separate rules. Yeah.
Separate rule systems. And you know, anybody who has played chess knows if you change one player, you've changed the whole game.
You changed the whole game.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a difficult thing. I had to train specifically for those sets of rules 3 different times that year. And Black Belt Magazine called me Fighter of the Year because of that.
I did
That year, 1984.
So
that was my prime.
So you
So I had both dragons.
Yeah,
That
you
helps.
had the dragons, right? And so you're courting the dragons, and they're close to you, and that's fine. I think everybody, you know, wherever somebody is in their life, they always have resources that are close. People discount the resources that they have around them. Or 2 steps away or 3 steps away. And so here you are, and you've got this idea. You begin to add credibility to the idea by assembling a team. You get a great writer on board with a track record. You get Cynthia on board with a track record. You get Cheryl on board with a track record. Now, Cheryl...
she's a famous stunt woman.
She's been in films, kickboxer.
She owns a nutrition company.
Owns a nutrition company, and she put money into the film too, didn't she? So
yeah, she's our first and biggest investor.
And I don't know if we can say how much or not. That's it's not really relevant to me.
No.
You know, they did you guys see the latest Jennifer Lopez movie? I think they did it with a budget of $2 million. This latest one is the Boy Next Door. $2 million range, and it's got I think it's going to do huge results. And I think I mentioned to Cynthia before, my friend Scott Mednick was one of the co-founders of Legendary Pictures. He raised $600 million to launch Legendary Pictures, and now they're doing a lot more private fundraising of films, where in the past it was like the major studios were going out and doing the funding. They're doing a lot more private, so they're actually going and making investor pitches and stuff. And he said for traditional investors, it's because films can be so hit or miss, they really understand having a portfolio of films, knowing that some are going to be misses and some are going to be hits.
Right.
But if you can do smaller dollar, smaller budget films, which, you know, if you take this $2 million one that they just did over here with Jennifer Lopez, there is a market for these films. And I think that one should not discount the film based upon the budget of the film, because there's some of those big budget films that sink.
There are many.
And I think that there's and not only do I think it, but Scott, who launched Legendary Pictures, he thinks it too, because he's putting together portfolios of smaller budget films to make that happen. So you bring together the team. Cheryl Wheeler throws money in. So now you've got money to start. Did Don come in before or after the money?
Before, both of them, way before.
Oh, yeah, way before. So you were already.
I had to. My mother would have put me on a room restriction. Basically, when your brother says he's going to produce his first film, and I've been in the business for 30 years, so
yes.
I've been around a while. You don't say yes or no. You just say, yes, Mom, I'll do whatever he tells me. I'll do it.
That's beautiful.
I had no choice.
They're waving us down to take a break. We'll be right back.
An epidemic affects kids in every school in America.
Stay down, punk!
And for Robbie Oakes,
Hey!
after some bad choices,
Grandma, it's not as bad as it looks.
Here we go again, Robbie!
Time to start making some better choices, kid.
he'll find a new home
Mikasa, Sukasa.
and come face to face with the biggest challenge of his life.
I'm Robbie.
I'm Rena.
Bullying.
Talking to my girl.
Hey, take it easy, man.
Man, that hurt as much as it looks?
You see the other guy?
We can't use his fists for a week.
You better come up with a plan for self-defense.
What? You think some guy trying to act tough scares me?
This case?
Yeah, a little bit. Where'd you learn all that ninja stuff?
Cindy, I don't think this is going to work.
You should bring him into martial arts school. Teach him discipline, be the father figure for him, put him on a positive path.
You know, you can wash on, wash off all you want, but you're not going to be driving any of our cars.
Catherine Newton,
You have really good form.
What?
star of Paranormal Activity 4.
I didn't know martial arts could be this much fun.
Jensen Panettiere of The Perfect Game and Ice Age. Don the Dragon Wilson, 11-time world kickboxing champion. Cynthia Rothrock, 5-time world forms and weapons champ.
We don't tolerate bullies here.
Chuck Zito of True Lies.
Nobody disrespects me in my dojo.
And TJ Storm, Black Cobra.
Honor. How traditional.
In the motion picture, the film's charity partner, Bullying, We're Kicking It, exclaims, this is a socially responsible movie that every family in America should see together.
Martial arts. To protect yourself. Protect others.
I told him that.
The Martial Arts Kid. Coming soon.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing because what we say offline is almost as funny as what we actually is funnier.
Right.
So you, James, I can't stop thinking about the. We said there could be a whole new line of film for you because I can't. I'm sorry, I can't repeat that story. That's off the record. We'll show it sometime in outtakes, right? But James, so you were saying you got to tell us about the Kickstarter campaign, and that is what I'm really interested in because here you were, you brought money in from somebody. Let me ask you this: just before Kickstarter, why did Cheryl invest money in the project? What do you think were the motivating factors that caused her to say, "I want to put money into this"?
Well, first she said what Cynthia said, which because she's a close friend, and she said whatever you were going to do, I would want to invest in. So that was like,
That's nice.
So it became not a hard sell. But then when she learned it was a martial arts film, family film, and it had a good message, then she was all in.
That's how most people get their first investors, friends and family. And this person, it was dear to their heart. And she said, I'm in. Right. And you wrote up whatever agreement you wrote up. Mm-hmm. And you had your first backer. She didn't want to star in it.
Well, she became producer. So she's actually my producing partner. So we're the two producers.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are the ones that produced the film. Then at that point, you started your filming. Had you already begun casting and stuff at that point?
No.
I mean, you got your stars.
No. Once the Kickstarter?
No, I'm just wondering when the rest of the casting started in relationship to the stars.
As soon as we got the investment money from Cheryl.
Yeah.
We got an office at Sunset Gower, and we started casting.
And you started partying. We got the money from Cheryl. We started partying, have a big champagne party.
Went to Vegas.
Went to Vegas, Disneyland. Hey, no, that's not what you do with your investors' money. Yes.
So we did. We started casting, and we hired Gerald Wolf, who's a very experienced casting guy. He's real old school.
So you went out and you found somebody who knew what they were doing more than you did.
Right.
And you built your team up with the resources that you brought in.
Right. And he's friends with all of us as well, so that made it easy, but he's a great casting guy.
Yeah.
So Baumgarten.
Was he specifically somebody that casted these types of films, martial arts genre, or?
No, not specifically, but he has.
He has.
He's done all kinds.
Yeah.
From the biggest to the smallest.
Got it.
But he, so we had a kid come in, and Baumgarten sends me an email, right? Says, check this kid out. So I watch this kid. And he looks good to me, but I'm not that experienced, right?
Right.
So I said, well, I send it to Don. Don sends me a message back. Hire this guy right now. Get that guy. He goes, you can't let that guy go.
Was it the acting skills, the martial arts skills? What was it?
No, it's pure acting.
Pure acting.
Because I'm from the Roger Corman School of Film. We did 12 movies together. He taught me how to make movies, basically independent films. And Roger says nobody's going to want to spend 90 minutes of their life with somebody unless they like them. And I knew that the lead of the movie had to be loved, like Rocky.
Right.
We all wanted him to win that fight, or at least go the distance. And the same thing with Jansen. The audience is going to want him to be successful for 90 minutes. And yeah, he sold me on his audition. I was bought.
Good.
So we got him. His name is Jansen Panettiere.
Panettiere.
His sister is Hayden.
Hayden Panettiere.
Right.
Okay. And she was, okay.
She was Heroes, and now she's Nashville.
Got it. Yeah.
She married Klitschko, right?
Okay. Yep. I didn't know she was married, but.
To the boxer, the boxing champion.
Oh, really? Klitschko.
Yeah, right. And then he's one of the central characters in Ice Age movies, and was one of the top guys in a movie called Medallion.
So you scored.
So he's done bigger things.
Yeah, you got somebody who's the real deal.
But really, he's very athletic. He's a gymnast, and he's taken Krav Maga.
Okay.
So he's got some martial arts experience. He was like perfect.
Yeah,
And then we really got lucky. We didn't know it, but a girl came in to read, and all the young girls in the office next to us were all excited. They all ran up. Some young guys were looking. And we didn't know who she was. She's red. She was great. She left. And then they said, we wanted to get an autograph. And we go,
why?
Yeah.
Who was it?
Well, her name is Catherine Newton, and her last film was she was the star of Paranormal Activity 4, which was a big hit.
All right.
It's 130 million.
And before that,
wow.
she was one of the main kids in Bad Teacher with Cameron Diaz, which grossed 192 million.
Wow.
So those are her last two films.
Okay, so well-known actress that's done well. She's done movies that have done
And
well.
then later, well, actually when she read and everything, so then her and Jansen read together, and there was instant chemistry that was obvious on screen. I mean, so
So it all started to come together, but then you hit a point where you couldn't finish it the way you wanted to finish it. Something happened cash flow-wise, though, right?
No.
Was it a crisis?
No,
or was it an opportunity?
we knew that if we were going to go on location, right?
Yeah.
If we were going all the way across country with crew and cast.
So you could have done it without it?
Now we needed that.
We usually fake
extra
it here in LA. You know how we do it.
Yeah.
We shoot. You get some stock footage of Cocoa Beach,
Here's
Florida.
the last 30 seconds.
You see Cocoa Beach, Florida, and you could even put people in and out of scenes. But
he
didn't want to do it that way.
after, right?
Yeah, he wanted to go to the location. That was where the money.
There was a lot of argument about that.
So what portion of the film did you have done by this point? Was it 3/4? Was it half?
You mean by what point?
By the point that you decided that something needed to be done to raise the capital to go to Florida.
Well, we actually decided that early on.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we decided we wanted to do that. We made the decision to do that.
But didn't fit in the budget.
I announced we were going to do a Kickstarter. Don says, again. No.
Oh, I'm positive. Other producers.
You'll never reach the goal.
Other producers that I talked to all felt that no money was going to come in.
And I get that too, because
you're going to go to Kickstarter,
yeah,
right? And because had they believed it, they would have done it with other movies that I did for them. They're producers I'd worked with in the past,
exactly.
And they thought, oh, my brother's inexperienced. He doesn't realize he's going to waste his time with this Kickstarter thing.
And that's exactly, and quite frankly, that's what most rational-minded people would do because it hadn't become the thing yet. It's an untested, untried. The reason why Don came on board at the beginning was because all of a sudden you had these people with track records, and now you announce the method you're going to do it with no track record, and so it's clear why there would be less certainty in it. But you said, okay, I'm going to do it, and it worked.
And if you didn't do it, we wouldn't have shot in Florida.
How much did that add to the film?
Tremendous.
That makes it look much bigger budget. Look, you want to emulate with the studio. Would Spielberg do fake exteriors and things and shoot it all in LA? No. If he was going to do a movie like this, he'd go right to that small town.
Right.
And I told my brother in the beginning, I said, try to do what the big guys do because we're going to compete with them. We're making 90 minutes of entertainment that is competing with their 90 minutes. Their average budget, $60 million. Ours, a little less than that.
Wow.
Just a little.
Just a little. So you say we're going to do this Kickstarter campaign, and had you ever done a Kickstarter campaign before? What was your first step? Who do you approach?
I asked the advice of a person named Graham Elwood because I knew he had done a successful Kickstarter.
He had done a successful. Do you have any idea how much he raised or what kind of success he had?
He actually had I think he raised like 100. He asked for 110. He raised like 128,000.
Okay, so he raised some significant capital to do something that was it non-related?
It's called it's non. It's not a film at all. It's a festival that's huge now.
Really?
Out
Is it?
here in LA, yeah. It's a comedy
How cool is that?
festival. And he has a podcast, though, that's real popular. And he got all these other comics to help support him.
Okay.
So, but he pointed me at a guy named Keith Blomberg. Mm-hmm. And he said,
So Keith was kind of a mentor for him to...
Right. So he knew how to work with the Kickstarter and Amazon, who you have to go through as well.
Yeah.
And he knew how to put it together. And he advised us on what we needed, that we needed a video.
See, and what's brilliant about the process is I think it's the creative process that everybody goes through that does anything successfully is they find the right mentors and they find the people that know more than them and they put together the people with the game plan. And this is what people don't get when they have a dream. They go, I don't have the money. I couldn't make it happen. Oh, why do it? I don't. But what you're laying out is the process of creation for anything. And my bet is you've done it now once. You can do it again and do it at a larger level and continue to do,
We could, but it was so much work and it's so scary.
Was it? Okay, yeah. So let's. We're not at the end yet, are we?
I will try to avoid it if I can.
Yeah, we're not at the end. We can adjust. That's a good thing. So you brought this mentor in, and the mentor said, "Here's how you set it up." Did you pay the mentor? Did you pay?
Yes, we actually hired him.
You hired him, and he constructed your campaign for you.
Right.
Yeah. And your prizes that you put out there were, I heard it was a date with Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only for the guys.
And like I saw it on there, it's like with Don till dawn. And I don't know what that means.
Well, I think Alexio bought it and he's going to turn it into the rematch.
Okay.
That's his game plan. Yeah. Alexio, your buddy.
and then he became Dawn the drag queen.
Don the drag queen Wilson. Oh my God.
You're going to start rumors, Cynthia. You don't start rumors.
I can tell he didn't like that.
Well, Richard Branson would have done it, and it would have brought him plenty of publicity. And you never know. You could do So now things are. You went out there, you did your filming, you wrapped it. You've got in post production, you got a few little things that are happening inside.
I want to make one other comment about the Kickstarter, and that's
please do.
That's that it would have been impossible without these two.
Yeah. And why would it have been impossible?
Because most of the people who contributed because they were fans of these two.
Right. So it was fans, it was supporters, people that wanted to, but you put together packages of various donation levels, which if they donated, they got that package, including movie posters, signed
T-shirts,
pictures.
I think there was one other major motivation for donors was that there's a very strong anti-bullying theme in the movie, and we've actually associated with anti-bullying nonprofit organizations.
Right.
And that is a major problem in this country. I didn't realize it. 160,000 children stay home every day because of bullying in America. 160,000.
Yeah.
And that's
I used to run away from school. So some days I used to sit in the forest. Remember, I was just shy, but I got picked on when I was a kid. I think
I think everybody has.
Yeah.
I think it's just been escalated though, because I think it's a little more damaging to the kids.
Well, now they have
guns. They're coming in with weapons.
And they're gang-related things too going on.
Yeah.
We actually pulled something else off that. It's not that we pulled it off, but we actually got approached by an anti-bullying group out of New Jersey. That's pretty big, and they're called We're Kicking It, so it kind of fits. And they actually fell in love with the idea and then loved what they read and then loved the cast and then actually offered us money to be associated and to help promote us.
We're Kicking It. That's an anti-bullying.
It's a nonprofit anti-bullying charity, and they actually put money in our film. And once we crossed the Kickstarter, we actually made a donation to them, much smaller than the amount they gave us, though.
Right.
Because we needed it to make the film.
Sure.
But once we went, over our goal.
And they did it because it was championing the cause of non-bullying. And when you said that, I got a flash in my mind, and I know you had mentioned Chuck Norris earlier, and I don't even remember what we were talking about. He came over to your room and said something.
I've been friends with him since the 70s, late 70s.
Yeah, and How did that conversation come up? Because
of his fight when he was sick and he take him to
yeah,
dinner.
we were talking about the
fighting
specific
Alexio.
fight that we've been talking about all afternoon.
with Alexio, because that's the one that impressed me. Because
what's his
yeah.
name? What is the guy?
Okay, yeah.
But we're giving him more press time than
You
anybody.
martial artists are so competitive.
But no, Chuck's been a supporter of mine for many years.
Right.
Great guy. Great
Yeah.
guy.
And he was saying, don't go fight being sick. Is that what it was?
No. He was just wanting to take me out to dinner the night before the fight. He didn't realize I was sick till he came to my room.
Yeah. Okay, that was it.
And basically, it was just that people asked me how sick was I on that fight, and I had to say no to Chuck Norris.
So Chuck
I
did
said I
come
couldn't
back
eat.
to your room, and you did have to say no to him.
Yes, I said no
think
to
there's
dinner.
another line of films
Didn't
for
you say right before your fight though? You were like in the bathroom, and you were like, didn't you say?
No.
something?
I saw him at another event, but I don't want to discuss that.
Oh, that was a different event.
That was actually.
Okay, hold on. My producer's going, stop this
mind.
conversation
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the reason why I brought it up was because of his it was the drug campaign.
Kick
that he
drugs
was-
out of America
Kick
or
drugs
whatever.
out of
Yeah.
America. So those two weren't related
not
at all.
related,
The bullying
no,
thing
no.
and the kick. I'm just curious, just totally off subject, but how's that doing with Chuck? Is he still running that?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I'm sure his organization.
He's
It's
got
in
some
Texas. It's
schools,
mainly
yeah,
in Texas.
yeah.
In Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
It appears we have to take our final break. Here we go. Let's go. Let's take it. So we were talking about the kickstarting campaign, and we were talking about the anti-bullying message. Let's maybe we can go deeper into
Yeah,
that. So
there's something that I learned through it's literature that was given to me by these groups. And one of the statistics is that 70% of a bullying incident will be stopped immediately if one person, like the bystanders that are around, one person steps in and says, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. Or if there's any support from another person, right? That's what they say. They say if any of the bystanders step in and tell the bully he shouldn't do it or stop, or if they offer any resistance, they say like 70% of these incidents will stop.
and it's ridiculous because group psychology says, well, somebody else will do it, or it's a spectacle. Let's watch.
That's what they do. They don't interfere. Like, I don't want to get involved.
Right.
And that's wrong. That's one of the messages they want speakers to speak up against, is that the people standing around should just step in and stop the bully.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you. I mean, I think I probably said it when we were off air, but I was bullied when I was a kid, and I remember there were days where I would skip school, and and part of it was I was just shy too. But I'd go hide in the forest, and during lunch and recess, so I didn't have to talk to anybody. But I got bullied my fair share of times. I mean, that's why I got into the arts when I got into the arts. It started when I was 12, I think, and the first time it stopped was when I was in high school, and I came in as a freshman, and the sophomore kid said, "Get in the trash can." He said, this was back in the 80s. Now I'm going to date myself. He said, "Or I'm going to thump your melon."
You know what? I'm surprised at this, because by reading you don't look like a guy that would be bullied. I've seen a lot of guys look more like a victim than you.
Yeah, well, seriously, but I mean,
you must have had tough bullies where you grew up.
He was a tough bully, and I was a little bit smaller, and I said, okay. And this was finally, I had been in martial arts for a little while. I had a green belt or something, and I was like, all right, start thumping. And he said, and then I paused him, and he's like, well, it's not just me. We're all going to do it. I said, go. Let's do it. And he said, forget it. And I walked away, and that was it.
What was your melon?
I thought my melon. I think that was supposed to be my head.
Oh, your head.
Yeah,
okay.
The head.
I was
for
in
a
a
woman,
grocer.
when you talked about a woman's melons, we're not talking about the head.
I'm going to thump your melon.
Well, it was a singular.
That's
it was
a
melon.
different story, a different message. I don't even
think.
think we can do that. See, that's why he's only in R-rated films.
Yeah, that's where they restrict me in R-rated. I'm restricted even on the radio.
So this is the conversation Chuck was having in your room.
No.
Oh no, it had nothing to do with that. Okay, so no, but all seriousness here, because we're having fun. But the message of your film is a wholesome message. It's a family message, and it's a film that has the message of putting a stop to the bullying, which is such a big thing right now.
We actually the central character that Jansen plays is a really troubled kid. He actually witnessed the death of his mother when he was young. His father had left him. He never knew him. Raised by his grandmother, not a very good neighborhood in Cleveland. He gets in trouble, so he's shipped to live with his aunt, who's Cynthia. And Cynthia's determined that they're going to help him. Don is actually...
Well, the first thing I say is, I don't think this is going to work. That's actually one of my lines of dialogue. See, I remember my dialogue years later. Yeah, that's the first thing I said. I said, I meet the kid, I meet him, and I go, Cynthia. The first scene with me and Cynthia, I said, Cynthia, because her name is Cindy. I go, Cindy, this is not going to work. The naysayer, the dragon naysayer.
Whoever you brought in to write the script had the characters down. They knew Don.
They call that typecasting.
And her immediate response is, yes, it is.
Yes, it is. And that's Cynthia.
Give him a chance.
He ends up by saying, you're always right.
Well, that's because he's a married man. It's just showing the other married men that I know what side my bread is buttered on.
You know who wears the pants in the family, right?
Anyway, Cynthia's character is kind of the great manipulator behind the scenes.
Yes.
She's determined to save her nephew. Right?
Yeah.
So she's kind of setting things up.
Now, in the movie, you're both martial arts masters in the movie, so you're teachers and you have a school.
She's already got Don to promise that he's going to have the kid in his class, but the kid actually, a scenario takes place where Cynthia brings him finally.
Right.
And he, and then Don basically tells him, no, I'm not going to teach you. But we already know that he's going to.
Yeah.
He's promised to.
Is it kind of a challenge to the kid to prove that they
Well,
want it?
you know what? You got to rake him over the coals
yeah.
a little bit. You got to rake him over the coals. And in the old traditional style of martial arts, it used to be there was you probably were around, not that you're old, but you're in the day when you had to earn. It's something you had to earn.
Ownership. It's investment. Right.
Right. We don't just take you just because you're going to plop down some money every month.
Yeah.
You had to earn it. And he had not proven to me as an individual, a young
who really wanted it,
right at the time.
Or deserved it, right.
And see, at the beginning, as you see, he's in trouble, and his character is a little, just not too good, kind of.
Right. Okay, so he's kind of a bad.
But we show a scene that shows that he's
off track.
That he's off track.
Yeah.
And they, by being a family and an example, and the lessons he learns in martial arts, he changes. You can see the change. You can really see the change in this movie. You can see him changing and changing and changing. And he's, of course, one of the reasons.
So that's a positive message in and of itself, because kids really can change. I was off track. I was a troubled kid, and when people are acting out, it's usually because things internally are not working. I didn't know how to handle my anger, my frustration, my fear of not fitting in, and all that stuff. And so I'd run away and I'd do stuff that was. Considered maladaptive, I guess. And
so you hit it right. You hit it right on the nail, right on the head.
Yeah.
Because that's what we kind of do here. Is part of his reasoning is just what you said, confidence.
Yeah, and that's why That's why I went to martial arts. That's why my parents sent me to meditation, sent me to learn hypnosis, sent me to learn martial arts and discipline and the things, and those are the true gifts, I think, above all else that we all get. Yeah.
And then we also have a message that. Just because you can fight doesn't mean you should be fighting.
Right.
We actually showed that, like in the Karate Kid, there is a dojo that's not so good, but it's not that it's
just a different attitude.
Right. And and it has a different philosophy, and they teach fighting, and the instructor feels like he has no responsibility what his students do outside of the dojo.
Right.
If they kick someone's ass, so what?
So good example, bad example.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, there's going to be a conflict between the two.
Right.
Because the bully, of course, goes to the other place.
Yeah. So it's kind of a classic, which most movies are, the monomyth Joseph Campbell. Hero going on the adventure, finding himself at the weak spot, coming back around and coming back with the treasure and the gifts that they've learned and bringing them back to their world. It's and
we have a great little actress named Kaylee Stallings that plays Cynthia's daughter, who's like perfect.
Oh,
when you see it, you'll see. And then our bully. Our bully is the guy who usually plays a young leading man who's very handsome, has very wavy hair, full thick hair. So we made him get a buzz cut, grow a goatee. He gained weight. He turned from a really good-looking guy to a really thuggish-looking guy.
But he was still a good-looking thug.
And his name's
so the girls
Matthew
are still
Ziff.
going to like him.
So the bully you were saying?
Yeah, his name is Matthew Ziff.
Uh-huh.
And he's always plays a kind of a preppy, young, good-looking guy, always kind of the hero and the nice guy.
Right.
And but he had so much acting experience ever since he was a child that we, but we made these requirements, which there was resistance
Right.
on his look. But then when he
He
finally
was too good looking to be a bully.
right when he finally agreed
like
to
the
change
nice
his
guy.
look,
Yeah.
and he played the role perfect. Everybody hates him.
That's
they hate
perfect.
him from the first time they see him. So
All the way through to the
everybody
end.
who's seen the film, so it's like he nails it. He did a fantastic job.
So, and the movie, it takes place over what period of time? Is it?
It takes place just a little over a 2-month period of time.
So-
which also we different than Karate Kid. Is this kid? He's on a fast track in his class,
Right.
Because he's really. We demonstrate several times he's very athletic anyway.
Yes.
And he's
So he's
of course
able to
he's
pick up
living with the
things.
instructors, but he's only a green belt by
a
the
green
time the
belt.
movie ends. Whereas in in the Karate Kid, another thing that's kind of
Yeah. All of a sudden, he's a black belt.
he's
after,
not only a
yeah.
black belt, he's beating the best
The
black
best of the
belts
best
in
black
the
belts.
nation
Yeah,
in a tournament.
exactly. Very likely, right? So, and is the bully a martial artist as well, or is the bully?
Yeah, he's taken it from another school, which is called Dojo Extreme, which is a different philosophy than Don School. It's one where they only teach you how to fight, and they don't care about any other aspects.
Not traditional martial
So there's
arts.
no,
Which ours
they don't
is.
teach you about responsibility, honor, respect,
The discipline,
duty,
all the traditional
discipline, yeah.
values.
None of that. It's just
Right.
fight.
Here's how you do it. Yeah. And now I'm just wondering, is there?
And I'd like to mention,
Yeah.
And the instructor of that school, his name is T.J. Storm,
Uh-huh.
and he starred in a movie called Black Cobra, but he's also Godzilla.
What do you mean he's got-
In the movie Godzilla, he's the guy. When you see
He's
Godzilla,
the guy in the costume.
You're kidding me.
not
You're
the
All the
costume,
little
but he's the
things
guy.
on,
That
yeah.
they do the
the
Special
bad
effects.
instructor
So basically,
is Godzilla.
I have to fight Godzilla in this movie.
So do you? Oh, you fight the bad guy in the end,
Of course.
right?
Of course.
And
You
he's
do
a,
the on
and
the
he's a
nose,
great.
or-
And TJ is a great martial artist. He's a big, huge guy.
Really.
Yeah, and he literally picks Don up in this and smashes him against a fence.
Oh,
a couple
my
of times
God.
and then drops him
Ah.
on concrete. Yeah, no
And
pad. We
then
didn't have any pads.
here's a question for both of you. After doing all these movies and stuff, how have your bodies held up?
Mine's held up quite
Well,
well. I
yes,
think yours too, right?
I rebuilt mine. I'm
Yeah.
60 now.
Oh, wow.
But at 45, I had every problem you can possibly imagine, and I rebuilt my whole body, literally. I did it with
Really?
diet and nutrition. Yeah,
And it makes such a big difference.
complete difference.
What's your workout routine like now, other than teaching and seminars? Do you?
Well, I go to the gym every chance I get. I mean, which is
traveling makes it very difficult.
Right. It's
Yeah.
still rare. It's not like I train like a professional fighter 7 days a week.
Right.
I train 2 and 3 times a week.
Right.
Maybe.
On your and then
Cynthia
whatever you get in
climbs
seminars.
Mount Everest.
Yeah, because the seminars, yeah, we don't because
Yeah, I don't work out the seminars. I teach.
Yeah, you're teaching there, so it's not really
not a workout.
Yeah. So Cynthia, we don't. You are a wild woman. You're like my.
She is.
Yeah, no,
Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee. My mother just
right,
went
yeah.
and lived with my brother in Antarctica for 6 months. They're doing some work, technological work for the government or something. And she's married. She left her poor husband at home, and and he's waiting for her. And it's like, what are you doing, Mom? But so I she's got this adventurous spirit. Cynthia, you've got the same thing where you're just on an adventure you're always adventuring. Where you just came back from Iceland. Mm-hmm. You fell in an ice hole or something?
Well,
there's a joke about that. Have you heard that before?
No, you know what? We did glacier trek, and we saw an ice hole that was like 300 feet, went down, and then took you off into the water. I mean, it's really...
it was dangerous.
It's very dangerous trekking because the snow covers those holes, those cracks and fissures, and it's so easy. Just, that's why people get killed out on glaciers, because you can't see those holes.
Well, you've heard that, but you've heard how to catch a polar bear? Seriously, no. You cut a hole. You cut a hole in the ice. This is true. You cut a hole in the ice, and you put a bunch of peas around the hole. And when the polar bear comes to take a pee, you kick him in the ice hole.
That does not sound like a good idea.
I don't kick polar bears.
You don't kick ice holes.
No, I do kick ice holes.
No, that's a different kind of hole you kick.
Sorry, I heard. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so you're just on these adventure after adventure. I say you're going to the Amazon, you're going to Belize, and a lot of this stuff you just do for fun to keep.
I love it. I have, I like to do physical things, I like to, canyon swing, rappel down waterfalls. I just like that because it's challenging for me, and I like being out in nature, and I like to, and now I even have it more because I want to do as much as I can, because,
Right.
you figure maybe 20 years I'm not going to be able to do it. So now, I'm going to Ecuador and Galapagos in May to
Right.
do another, adventure trip. And I think if I wasn't a martial artist, I'd love to be leading adventure people, or taking them, on these wild adventures.
And why not be both? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Now, of course,
true.
I stay in my hotel room, and they call it the Dragon Cave. I don't go anywhere. But because of Cynthia, we have to go to
Yeah.
what Romania.
Yeah.
The guy's taking us to Count Dracula's.
The
the
castle
castle of Dracula.
I said
Because of
that's a
her, I have to
prerequisite.
go.
said,
I am
but I
so
gotta say,
jealous.
We were in Papua New Guinea, and I wanted to, trek, and I wanted to,
She drags me out of my hotel
So
room.
she's the
Don,
crouching
let me
tiger,
tell you.
you're the hidden dragon.
Yes.
Don went to
That's a
the
good
zoo.
one.
Don went to the zoo in Papua New Guinea.
That's about
Let me say
it.
one thing. Wait, let me say one thing. There's something in our movie
Yeah.
that actually Cynthia has never done before.
What's that?
And we our stunt and fight coordinator is James Liu. I don't know if you know him,
I
but
do
he's
know,
like
yeah.
about as big as you can get in
Yeah,
this
yeah,
industry.
yeah.
He does all the giant A movies.
Yeah.
But so him and Cynthia got together, and she wanted to do something that she had never done before.
And we got to wrap this, so this
So
is going to be
she
our final
does her
point.
she does her scorpion kick, her dragon kick.
Yes, how
from
she
the
does
ground.
it from behind.
Yeah, my hands and knees.
She's
so
on
put
the
it that way.
ground, and she does it. And she does it against Inga Van Arden, and it looks.
If you haven't seen her scorpion kick, you will when you see the martial arts kid. I wish
Yeah,
you
it
guys.
is in there. It is in there. So that's one of them, yeah.
When's the release date?
We don't have one yet.
Okay, so we don't know yet, but when we do,
2015, though.
we'll come back out and we're going to let you know. Guys, thank you so much for doing the show. It's been truly a pleasure, and I wish I could have talked to you all day long.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
An epidemic affects kids in every school in America.
Stay down, punk!
And for Robbie Oakes, after some bad choices,
Grandma, it's not as bad as it looks.
Here we go again, Robbie.
Time to start making some better choices, kid.
he'll find a new home
Mikasa Sukasa.
and come face to face with the biggest challenge of his life.
I'm Robbie.
I'm Rena.
Bullying.
I'm talking to my girl.
Hey, take it easy, man.
Man, that hurt as much as it looks?
You see the other guy. We can't use his fist for a week.
You better come up with a plan for self-defense.
What? You think some guy trying to act tough scares me?
This case?
Yeah, a little bit. Where'd you learn all that ninja stuff?
Cindy, I don't think this is going to work.
You should bring him into martial arts school. Teach him discipline, be the father figure for him, put him on a positive path.
You know, you can wash on, wash off all you want, but you're not going to be driving any of our cars.
Catherine Newton,
You have really good form.
What?
star of Paranormal Activity 4.
I didn't know martial arts could be this much fun.
Jensen Panettiere of The Perfect Game and Ice Age. Don the Dragon Wilson, 11-time world kickboxing champion. Cynthia Rothrock, 5-time world forms and weapons champ.
We don't tolerate bullies here.
Chuck Zito of True Lies.
Nobody disrespects me in my dojo.
And TJ Storm, Black Cobra.
Honor. How traditional.
In the motion picture, the film's charity partner, Bullying, We're Kicking It, exclaims, this is a socially responsible movie that every family in America should see together.
Martial arts. To protect yourself. Protect others.
I told him that.
The Martial Arts Kid. Coming soon.
We'll see you on the next episode, and until then, love deeply, shine brightly, make every day an extraordinary adventure.